Position Analysis Questionnaire by Jacob T. Noblick at the University of Northern Kentucky. The method being examined today is the Position Analysis Questionnaire. This questionnaire must be purchased from the Economic Research Institute. The PAQ is described as a worker-oriented method because it focuses on what characteristics a worker requires to complete a job. Here is an example of an item on the Position Analysis Questionnaire. Take a moment to observe that. The PAQ was first developed in the 1980s by Ernest McCormick and his colleagues from Purdue University. It was designed around the well-known behaviorist SOR formula, where an organism, O, receives a stimulus, S, and has a response, R. It also takes into account the environment and social setting for their effect on job performance. The PAQ was designed so its elements would be applicable to any job, and thus universally useful to all employers. The bulk of the test items are divided into 6 divisions, which relate either to human attributes, such as perception of color, or accommodations which must be made by the employee, such as using written information. There is also a short section at the end of the questionnaire covering compensation. The 6 major divisions include information input, mediation or mental process, work output, interpersonal activities, work situation and job context, and miscellaneous aspects. The PAQ has been shown to be usable when completed by a specially trained analyst, by managers, or even incumbents. However, it is recommended an analyst complete the questionnaire when possible due to the high level of reading comprehension and abstract judgments required. Also, an incumbent may not be able to make the most unbiased judgments on what items do or don't apply to the job. Assuming an analyst is the one completing the questionnaire, the first step is typically to observe the incumbents at work. This is useful in understanding the job context. It also helps the analyst discern what is not obvious from watching the job, and thus help direct the second step of the process, conducting incumbent interviews. Interview questions should be decided based on their alignment with PAQ divisions and cover all 6. After collecting data, the analyst will then fill out the questionnaire. This is done by looking over all items and rating them on a scale of relevance from not relevant to level 5 or extremely relevant. Though an analyst may ask an incumbent for their rating on certain items, such as time spent on the job, after the questionnaire has been filled out, it is graded by a computer. The printout lists dimension scores, as well as estimates on aptitude tests, job evaluation points, FLSA analysis, and whether the job is covered by the Fair Labor Standards Act. The PAQ has 2 main uses today. First, it is used as a standardized approach to identify the person requirements for jobs. This removes the need to create costly validation studies for each job. The second is to help organizations evaluate their jobs for compensation. However, while the PAQ is designed to help in selection and job evaluation, it is also used to determine the disability constraints on a job. One of the major issues with the PAQ are questions around its reliability. There is usually strong agreement between judges when comparing scores across items for the same job. However, There is less agreement when the comparison is across the same items between jobs. When agreement has been examined across jobs, the rates of agreement have also not been good. There's also concern the PAQ is not very good at showing differences between similar jobs, such as between a professor of mathematics and a professor of geology, while it is pretty good at showing the difference between very different jobs. The PAQ has been shown to be a fairly valid method, however. One of the primary reasons it was created was to give employers a way to evaluate jobs, and thus set salaries. Studies have shown that PAQ scores predict salary data quite well. Another study, conducted in 1987 by Carter and Biersner, also validate the PAQ by showing how job requirements derived from it related well to military aptitude test scores for various naval positions. The PAQ has been shown to have numerous advantages as a method of job analysis. It uses common elements for all jobs, which make it useful for evaluating families or clusters of jobs. It is useful in identifying KSAOs and defending job relatedness tests. It is also relatively quick and inexpensive. Some disadvantages include needing a trained analyst for best results. Although the PAQ can be completed by incumbents and supervisors, they are more prone to error. The PAQ is also not very informative about managerial jobs, limiting its desired generalizability. Most research has shown that it's best suited for analyzing blue-collar type jobs. It also requires a college-level reading ability to properly understand, limiting who can perform the method. Lastly, because the PAQ does not describe specific work activities, behavioral similarities between jobs may mask genuine task differences. Thank you, and the end.